That's some good coffee. It's fresh and it's hot. But today I'm gonna throw something at you. Now, let me start by saying, this is now not recommended, okay, for preserving, such as jams and jellies. But you know, there's times in your life you have to make executive decisions. There's time in your life that you have to say, what is best for my family? Well, I got an email last week, and I didn't realize that when I do a little jelly recipe or whatever, it's always asked you mention juice. You use store-bought juice. So let me clarify. Many years ago, as I don't do it now, we don't have the grandkids here, but I would take the apple juice, white grape juice, the 100% juice that comes in the jugs with no additives, no sugars, and I would make jelly out of that. Being from Louisiana, us personally, we never had an apple tree. My grandkids love the cinnamon apple jelly that I put up. But last year, a lot of y'all remember, you couldn't find lids. Now, this is not a ball lid. This is not a lid that I would recommend for pressure canning. These lids are what I call a generic lid, okay? But I've used these lids. Let me find them. Here's one right here. This is one that I used. I didn't pressure can, I just used the lid, okay? So I put these lids in hot water. I'm not gonna water bath with these lids. They don't seal. They're just a generic lid. They're gold. But when you find them for $1 a box, it reminds me of back in the day when we didn't always have the money to get new lids for our jams and our jellies. But what we always kept around was Gulf wax, a paraffin wax, okay? Now this is what they say is not recommended in today's current times. There again, I don't agree with that. Now, if you're looking for many years of shelf life, yes. If you're looking at up to a year, I don't know about y'all, but if you price the lids, if you can find them, you're better off buying the jars that have the lids. But the lids in today, to me, are not the lids that used to be. That's just Lippy. But this paraffin wax right here, the last time my memory bank and my mother-in-law that I know is going to be watching this, does this bring back memories? Because you see, this is what we use to put our jams and jellies up with. Every year, never had a problem. I think the failure is the proper use of the wax. I do recommend everyone getting some Gulf wax, just paraffin wax. It is still very inexpensive, and you can find it just as a backup in case you cannot find lids. And I think that's going to happen again. You would not pressure can. You're not going to do this in food. This is jams and jellies, guys. That's it. If you don't like jams and jellies, you probably not want to watch this video. But we're fixing to make apple jelly, only I make cinnamon apple jelly with candy. I've got my paraffin wax over there on the stove melting in a double boiler. I'm going to move the camera over there and I'm going to show you step by step. Pretty much, most of you probably know how to make jelly. But have y'all ever used Gulf wax? And if so, did you use it correctly? See, that's going to be the question. So maybe it's not so much this is not considered safe because they say, you know, a little bacteria, a little mold can get in there. But if it's properly used and you use it within 6 months to a year, I've never had a problem. It's just when you open the jar, you take the wax out, dump it, put you a lid on it, throw it in the refrigerator, and you're good to go. And you save your good lids for food. Your green beans, your squash, your potatoes, on and on and on. All right, get one more sip. Maybe I'll just stay here for a minute and drink. Y'all, every time I get to rattling, my coffee gets cold. I'll get y'all set up over there. I might be able to get a half cup down. It is so good. See you at the stove. Okay, here's my double boiler. Now this is a makeshift, okay guys? It's just some water. You do not want to heat that wax directly on the burner. Whether that be electric or gas fed, you need it in a double boiler, okay? And this is my double boiler. Now, this is only used for wax, salves, things of that nature, but basically wax. This will not be used in my kitchen for food. But there you go. And then back here, I have washed and sterilized my jars, but they're just sitting on a low temp, sitting in hot water. And the reason why I do this is because I'm not going to be water bathing, I want these jars hot, so when the hot jelly goes in, it will help make a full seal even with the Gulf wax. Okay, and here is my pot. So let me set you up and we'll get this jelly going. Okay, I'm putting my stove between a 6 and a 7, okay? 4 cups of apple juice. Now, like I said, you can make any shelf juice into jelly. We're gonna do cinnamon apple. Now, the only thing that would change is the candy. You would do it same ingredients, the same amounts. If you're doing like a grape jam, they even have plum juice, plum jelly. We're doing apple cinnamon. And in here, you know those little red hot candies? This is 1/4 cup. Now, you can add more or you can add less. I'm not trying to overpower. I'm trying to just balance, okay? You're gonna need 1 box of powdered pectin going in. Now you could go up to 1/2 cup of the little candies if you wanted to. There again, that's kind of to your taste. And you know, you guys that's been following me, you know what I think about a lagniappe. This is just one of these containers that I keep in my Tupperware, and I'm gonna come in with about a heaping teaspoon. Okay, that was a heaping teaspoon. It's called lagniappe. That will ensure that your jelly sets every time. A lot of you canners out there know you can put 1 box and it's a hit or miss. It's either gonna gel or you're gonna end up with syrup. Whatever reason, if you add a heaping teaspoon of pectin as a lagniappe, it works every time. So all I'm gonna do is get this stirred, okay? Get it dissolved. You see, we're not putting sugar in here, y'all. For the ones that's never made jelly, sugar is the last thing that goes in. Now all I'm gonna do is just stir this. I'm gonna let it come to a boil. Oh, you know what I almost forgot, guys? Because I didn't have it in my eye. About 1/2 teaspoon of butter. What that's gonna do is that's gonna help with the froth that's gonna come up. But I'm just gonna sit here, bring this up to a boil before I add the sugar, but I'll bring you back when we're at that stage. Because the ones that's never made jelly, you don't wanna miss that part. So we're just gonna bring this to a boil, come back, do our sugar. Now, I have 5 cups of sugar in here, pure cane sugar. I did not measure it in this, guys. I measured it with a cup. This is for dry measuring, that's for liquid measuring. So I did 5 cups, throwed it in here so it'd be easier to use. Okay, as you can see, it's coming up to a boil. Now, do you see the froth? You see that on top? If you wouldn't have put the butter in there, it would have been really bad. So it's not going to be much to skim off. But I'll do that after I get this pot off the fire. It's coming up to a boil. And this is where you don't want to stir it down. In other words, if I could stir this bowl down, I'm not there yet. I'm waiting till I cannot stir it down. Now we're going to go in with our 5 cups of sugar. If you were not going to use the Gulf wax, you would use 4 cups of sugar. I always add, there again, a little lagniappe. So if I'm going to use my Gulf wax for my jams and jellies, I'm going to add an extra cup of sugar. So to this, it's 5 cups of sugar. If I was going to water bath this without the Gulf wax, I would have used 4 cups of sugar. And of course you would water bath / process for 5 minutes. And I'm just going to get this dissolved. I'm going to bring it up to a boil. Once it comes down to a boil that you cannot stir down, you need to let it boil exactly 1 minute and take it off the heat. But I'll bring you back so you can get a visual. But all I'm going to do is stir this to dissolve that sugar and bring it up to a rolling boil. I'm still on a 6, y'all. Don't crank your heat on high, y'all. You want a good medium. Like I said, on this stove, I'm working off of a 6. And it seems to do just fine. But you don't want to crank it up to a high. I cannot stir it down. So we're going to let it go 1 minute and take it off the heat. Now I hope y'all can see we've got it off the heat. And all I'm going to come in, now you don't have to do this. It doesn't affect the jelly. I just like to have a really clean jelly. So you just want to take, see, that froth off. Now you're not going to get it all, but you're going to get majority of it. But like I said, if you don't want to do this step, don't. This is really for the eye. But you know what I always say? Smell, sight, taste is the 3 keys to food being delicious. Okay. I got enough. I'm good. Not looking for perfection, but I do want it off. I don't want it on that rim. All right, here we go. I want y'all to see this color. Now, I do have half pints, but I'm doing this one as a gift. So, of course, I want them to have a pretty jar. And the key is, always remember, make sure you give your gifts to the ones that bring you your jar back because they want to refill. See? Now, you're only going to come up to about a 1/2 inch headspace because we have got to allow for that wax, okay? Now, let me set that there and show you. See? I'm right here. All right, let's get the rest of it. There you go. All right. Now, I do have my vinegar and my rag. That's to clean the top very well, but we're not there. Now, all I did was pour my wax. You see how it's starting to gel up? That's fine. I can set it back in the hot water. And you see where my double boiler is? It's hot, y'all. It's still got water in it. But let's get this done. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the top. just slightly. That's it. That's the first round. Okay? All we're doing is getting a lower level, a bottom level. And then we'll end up finishing sealing it. Okay. 35 minutes. Now the first layer has hardened. We've got just a little bit left in the large pint jar. All right, now we're going to come in with the final layer. And this is where you want to go 1/4 to 1/2 inch, okay? And then what I like to do is I like to take it and kind of swirl it around to really get the edges sealed. Now I did start off with 2 blocks of the Gulf wax. You're going to go in and you really want to make sure there is nothing on the rim of this jar. Okay? And I really take my time, and I'll probably use 2 or 3 of these paper towels just to make sure I'm not putting from, if there's wax, to put wax on the other ones. All right, I'm gonna get these clean because I go around all the sides, and then we're gonna move to the final step. Okay, the rims are clean. In this bowl, I've got boiling hot water. That's what I put the lids in. Remember, I told you I was going to heat the lids. And we're going to get them sealed up. Ooh, these are hot, yeah. And what this does, it just adds a little extra seal. Again, guys, the questions about using the juices from the store led me to do a video and also show what I actually do with my jellies and jams, because I have seen some questions lately come in on different lives about Gulf wax. So obviously there's people out there thinking about it, correct? And I'm going to put them on snug. I want y'all to look at that color. Now I'll get the rest of these lids on. Oh, Lordy. 2 pints. Now, I'm not sure, but can you see that it's, the second layer is gelling? Look at the back one. That'll give you a better view. So you want to, remember, I didn't have enough jelly to fill it all the way up. But it doesn't matter. Once you look all the way around, it is perfectly sealed. But isn't that beautiful jelly? We're done. Everything's in my bucket. Y'all know my bucket's a little small. But this will go back into the pantry where all my canning is, because I know that this is strictly for my wax. That's what these old pots are, strictly for wax. So that way they're out of the way of somebody grabbing an actual cooking pot. So it's best if you're going to do this, even if you're making candles, if you're making salves, I would not recommend using pots and utensils that you're going to use for your food. And that sounds like, well, you just put wax on your food. Yes, I did. But that wax is going to come off when I'm ready to eat that jelly. That wax ain't coming out of here. So you can't control, I mean, it's clean because I used boiling water. But if you rub, there's still a little residue of wax. So there's a difference. But like I said, this video actually began with the questions of people asking me about store-bought juices. And then I thought, well, I was on a live yesterday morning, Danny and Wanda, and somebody asked about Gulf wax. A few weeks ago, someone asked about it. So obviously there's chatter, okay? And I thought, well, you know what? Let's combine the two. So now you know how to make jelly out of the juice. And as I said, if you don't want to use the Gulf wax, you still do the same recipe, but you drop it from 5 cups to 4 cups. So it'd be 4 cups of juice, 4 cups of sugar, 1 package of pectin, and a heaping teaspoon of pectin. It's called a little lanyard. So you'd still follow it, only you would water bath for 5 minutes. That's the only difference. So my jars will sit till tomorrow. I will remove the rings. I still don't even leave the rings on when I'm using the Gulf wax. Clean my jars, label them, put them up. But this will be gone before Christmas because it's a cinnamon apple. We've got fall coming up. We love apple jelly cake. When fall comes, I'll do a recipe on that. It's a delicious cake, y'all, and it's made out of jelly. You can do it with peach right now for summertime. But I'm going to enjoy my number 4 cup of coffee. I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe it answered some of y'all's questions, especially on the Gulf wax. But you have to make the executive decision. What's best for your household? This is fine for mine, but what works for me may not work for you. So, until next time, stay safe, and God bless.